Chapter 1. Ain't nothing wrong with you a good nickname can't cure. Head winked as he dubbed me the chairman. It's how you blend in with the furniture, kid. His wink felt like a father's hand on my back, or so I imagined. My back never knew the touch of the hand that pumped 10,000 fists, top producer of townhouse sales in the western end of the San Fernando Valley, which my mom had just fled. My refuge was the lantern, where I'd sit the overstuffed chair near the register to avoid the Jew-baiting surf rats in my new school while punishing Mom for our lonely new life. Head turned to a customer selling a load of Zap comics, and I jotted my joy at having been tagged by Hammerhead Hirsch, a.k.a. the Boardwalk Balladeer and Pugilist Poet. The chairman, I mused. Better by far than Robbie Steiner, the patently Jewish name of a 14-year-old don't-want-to-be Jew. Yeah, the chairman, Head said with merry mockery. His voice was like honey sprinkled with grit, a key element of his potent allure. What's in a name? He asked the ceiling. Tons, he replied, and launched into his patter, a felicitous marriage of SoCal cool and East Coast brio seductive as notes from the Pied Piper's flute. Way back in Brooklyn, I was Hillel the Heeb. That's what the Italian kids yelled when they chased my sweet ass through Lafayette Park. And I got so fast from that I was soon batting leadoff in an Italian team in the Ice Cream League, with some of the clowns chased me through the park. Yeah, the Ice Cream League. It sent more players to the big leagues per capita than any place else you could name, betcha. First and foremost, Head lifted his eyes to the heavenly choir. Sandy, meaning Koufax, the great Jewish star he'd followed from New York to L.A. Yeah, Hillel the Heeb. When my pop heard that, he did what any red-blooded Yiddish papa would do. He put down the dish towel, stuffed some old socks into a couple of oven mitts, hung a gunny sack full of dirt from our one scrawny tree, and taught me how to box. You should have seen him, man. Mordecai Hirsch, the boxing tailor, whomping the bag with those stuffed oven mitts, shouting, "Never again, whomp, never again," the fringes of his prayer shawl fluttering in the wind as he stuck and moved, reaching up now and then to steady his beanie lest it fall to the ground. You may not believe this in an age of Jewish white collars, but your peeps had a number of boxing greats once, a slew of crowns in the lighter divisions, and some middle and heavyweight champions too. Did you know that? I shook my head, for I rarely knew anything Head told me about 10 years ago, and felt in his presence like I hadn't been born. It's a fact. Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum, Max Baer, Benny Leonard. In the interest of proving that I too was a sentient being, I blurted, "Did your dad have any nicknames?" Head grinned crinkly-eyed like, "I like you, you dope." He had one, Pa. To everyone else, he was just Mordecai. That was all the nickname for a man like him. Whatever that meant. The neighborhood of the Lantern was peppered with people Head had tagged, such as Oh Sad Fred, the sad sack who'd worked at the Lantern even longer than Head, and Lantern regulars Too Tall Ted and Rebel with a Cause, and boardwalk characters like Juicy Jack and Dapper Dan, all of whom deemed the bestowal of a nickname from Hammerhead Hirsch akin to being knighted. So, naturally, the naming of Head's only son occupied the man and his girlfriend for months before the child was born. Jedediah, Head would say with a mischievous glint. Adalbert? Aloysius? Saffron, Head's love. Ah, heavenly dove. Would smile at Head while knitting booties on the garage sale rocker Head had scored when they learned she was pregnant. I never had seen a smile so pure, and it amazed me that a gorgeous girl of 21, with long brown hair and soft brown eyes, could be so in love with a man twice her age. "Bingo?" said Head. Saffron raised her brow as if to say, "Why not? Anything's possible. We're possible, aren't we?" They fell with a laugh into each other's eyes, and I felt as I was, an awkward teen who'd never been kissed. "Bookmark," I erupted, for the babe was due soon. "Just name him Bookmark and you can change it later when you see what he's like." Head lifted his bushy brow in amusement and pointed at me with a sausage-like thumb. See why I keep my buddy around? Saffron smiled with approval. And so, in a week, Bookmark Hirsch arrived. I visited the Heads 2 nights hence bearing a stuffed bunny wearing boxing gloves I bought with 2 weeks' allowance. Saffron was reclining against the oversized pillows on Head's king-sized 4-poster with a white canopy Head had rigged for her and the babe. It was summertime, and the evening was still. The amber glow from an oil lamp was the sole light in the room. A sea breeze stirred the canopy. "Sail away with me," Saffron murmured to her babe in arms, and the babe gazed up into eyes brimming with love. The babe looked tiny nestled in milk-swollen breasts, and neither parent cared that the mammary on which the babe suckled was exposed to the view of the palace eunuch and court jester. Head sat at the massive mahogany desk he'd scored second-hand. He never bought, only scored, and wrote this letter to his newborn. Tuesday, May 21st, the best year of my life, CE, a.k.a. 1990. To my brand new squishy little squiggly pink squid. Hello, dude, and welcome to the world. It's me, your paw, Hammerhead Hirsch, doing that old-fashioned Hallmark write a letter to your newborn thing to put on your wall in a real cool frame just as soon as you're able to read it. The first thing you gotta know about this 43 years young dad of yours, he ain't no straight arrow necktie wearing Hallmark guy at all. He's a poetry slamming, night jamming, beer drinking, blues singing, bookstore clerking, hard working, been there, done that, flower power graybeard with a squash pug nose and a tie-dyed shirt and a beat-up fedora I wear 'cause I like it. And more than all that, I've got so much love for you it'd fill the Great Lakes and half the Pacific. And so does your mom, little dude. What a beaut. Of course, I'm talking body and soul. There's a song, my friend, from before you were born, about a girl named Saffron who the singer was just mad about. And not a day goes by that I'm not singing how I'm just mad about your ever-loving mama with the free-flowing hair and maple candy eyes. And looking at her rock and looking down at you, the glow in those eyes has never been warmer. See, you're going to be just mad about Saffron, too. All my love, Pop. Head was proud as a peach pit. His very words, I jotted them down. With baby Bookmark, I sat back and reflected. 14 years old, and I'd named a kid. Not that Head neglected the permanent naming. He took the kid everywhere, and everywhere solicited names. First, of course, at the lantern, the lamp of my new life. The bookstores in the valley were antiseptic chains, but the lantern was a mysterious wood with musty hardcovers packed to the ceiling. There were shelves of classics by Dickens, Joyce, and him, as Head called him, and all the other big names I knew from honors English, honors, big whoop, and seductive titles like The Communist Manifesto, The Kama Sutra, disappointingly few hot pictures, and books on Hinduism, Sufism, and every other ism, and underground comics galore. Sunk into my chair next to the Art Deco pole from which the store's namesake lantern hung, I look up only when one of three things happened. Thing one, a customer bringing in a load of used books, for I loved watching Head appraise each volume like a jeweler before declaring the absolute non-negotiable price for the batch. Thing two, Saffron sweeping in on a breeze of patchouli in a sheer peasant dress with ankle bells tinkling. She'd lean over to kiss her glowing non-hubby while my eyes danced over her curves, burning each graceful line into my brain for delirious nighttime recall. Thing three, the depositing of another entry in the glass jar by the register for the Name the Babe contest, sanctioned by the owner in lieu of a raise, Head groused, and promoted by free bookmarks with a pasted-on picture of the cherished cherub beneath the legend, Name this bookmark. The owner, Satch, a spindly gray ponytail known by the Head-bestowed moniker Pete Cigar for his resemblance to the folk singer, mused, Popeye? With a bony finger to a wispy goatee. How does Popeye improve on Bookmark? Head asked. Just fits, shrugged Satch. Listen to him cackle when you poke him in the belly. I gotta admit, Head said, you got a point, ack. I recorded all of the entries in a journal Head presented to me with the Mosaic commandment, "You write, young blood. 'Tis all ye know and all ye need know." Buster, I noted, was the entry of a skinny, gap-toothed sycophant of Head's who popped in daily to say, "How you doin', champ?" and punch Head weakly on the arm before skipping tittering out onto the street when Head would raise his arm as to whack him. There were weird names like Chopper, Pete Moss, and Bip, and conventional names like Brandon and Justin, which had no chance, for there was just no way the boardwalk balladeer of Beat Era fame was naming his firstborn Brandon. My favorite entry was from Preston Stacks, Head's sax-playing black friend. "Why not do like we do, Jewish soul man, and tailor a name to fit Hirsch?"